This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Ted DeLorme, Fort Mill, South Carolina, in September of 2006. The Hollow Needle. Further Adventures of Arsene Lupin by Maurice Leblanc. Translated by Alexander Teixeira de Matos. Chapter 9. Open Sesame. The Étretat needle was hollow. Was it a natural phenomenon, an excavation produced by internal cataclysms, or by the imperceptible action of the rushing sea and the soaking rain? Or was it a superhuman work executed by human beings? Gauls, Celts, prehistoric men. These, no doubt, were insoluble questions. And what did it matter? The essence of the thing was contained in this fact: the needle was hollow. At 40 or 50 yards from that imposing arch which is called the Porte d'Aval, and which shoots out from the top of the cliff like the colossal branch of a tree to take root in the submerged rocks, stands an immense limestone cone, and this cone is no more than the shell of a pointed cap poised upon the empty waters. A prodigious revelation! After Lupin, here was Beautrelet discovering the key to the great riddle that had loomed over more than 20 centuries. A key of supreme importance to whoever possessed it in the days of old, in those distant times when hordes of barbarians rode through and overran the old world. A magic key that opens the Cyclopean cavern to whole tribes fleeing before the enemy. A mysterious key that guards the door of the most inviolable shelter. An enchanted key that gives power and ensures preponderance. Because he knows this key, Caesar is able to subdue Gaul. Because they know it, the Normans force their sway upon the country, and from there, later, backed by that support, conquer the neighboring island, conquer Sicily, conquer the East, conquer the New World. Masters of the secret, the kings of England lord it over France, humble her, dismember her, have themselves crowned at Paris. They lose the secret, and the rout begins. Masters of the secret, the kings of France push back and overstep the narrow limits of their dominion, gradually founding a great nation and radiating with glory and power. They forget it, or know not how to use it, and death, exile, ruin follow. An invisible kingdom in mid-water and at 10 fathoms from land. An unknown fortress taller than the towers of Notre Dame and built upon a granite foundation larger than a public square. What strength and what security! From Paris to the sea by the Seine. There the Havre, the new town, the necessary town. And 16 miles thence, the Hollow Needle, the impregnable sanctuary. It is a sanctuary, and also a stupendous hiding place. All the treasures of the kings, increasing from century to century, all the gold of France, all that they extort from the people, all that they snatch from the clergy, all the booty gathered on the battlefields of Europe, lie heaped up in the royal cave. Old Merovingian gold sous, glittering crown pieces, doubloons, ducats, florins, guineas, and the precious stones and the diamonds, and all the jewels and all the ornaments. Everything is there. Who could discover it? Who could ever learn the impenetrable secret of the needle? Nobody. And Lupin becomes that sort of really disproportionate being whom we know, that miracle incapable of explanation so long as the truth remains in the shadow. Infinite though the resources of his genius be, they cannot suffice for the mad struggle which he maintains against society. He needs other, more material resources. He needs a sure place of retreat. He needs the certainty of impunity, the peace that allows of the execution of his plans. Without the Hollow Needle, Lupin is incomprehensible, a myth, a character in a novel, having no connection with reality. Master of the secret, and of such a secret, he becomes simply a man like another, but gifted with the power of wielding in a superior manner the extraordinary weapon with which destiny has endowed him. So the needle was hollow. It remained to discover how one obtained access to it. From the sea, obviously, there must be, on the side of the offing, some fissure where boats could land at certain hours of the tide. But on the side of the land, Beautrelet lay until 10 o'clock at night, hanging over the precipice, with his eyes riveted on the shadowy mass formed by the pyramid, thinking and pondering with all the concentrated effort of his mind. Then he went down to Étretat, selected the cheapest hotel, dined, went up to his room, and unfolded the document. It was the merest child's play to him now to establish its exact meaning. He at once saw that the 3 vowels of the word Étretat occurred in the first line, in their proper order, and at the necessary intervals. This first line now read as follows: E, A, Étretat, A. What words could come before Étretat? Words, no doubt, that referred to the position of the needle with regard to the town. Now the needle stood on the left, on the west. He ransacked his memory, and, recollecting that westerly winds are called vents d'aval on the coast, and that the nearest port was known as the Port d'Aval, he wrote down en aval d'Étretat, A. The second line was that containing the word demoiselle, and, once seeing in front of that word the series of all the vowels that form part of the words la chambre de, he noted the 2 phrases: in aval d'Étretat, la chambre de demoiselle. The third line gave him more trouble, and it was not until some groping that, remembering the position near the chambre de demoiselle of the Fort de Fréfossé, he ended by almost completely reconstructing the document. En aval d'Étretat, la chambre de demoiselle, sous le fort de Fréfossé, la aiguille creuse. These were the 4 great formulas, the essential and general formulas which you had to know. By means of them you turned in aval, that is to say, below or west of Étretat, entered the chambre de demoiselle, in all probability passed under Fort Fréfossé, and thus arrived at the needle. How? By means of the indications and measurements that constituted the 4th line. These were evidently the more special formulas to enable you to find the outlet through which you made your way, and the road that led to the needle. Beautrelet at once presumed, and his surmise was no more than the logical consequence of the document, that, if there really was a direct communication between the land and the obelisk of the needle, the underground passage must start from the chambre de demoiselle, pass under Fort Fréfossé, descend perpendicularly the 300 feet of cliff, and, by means of a tunnel contrived under the rocks of the sea, end at the Hollow Needle, which was the entrance to the underground passage.